Beat! Welcome back for another episode. I never know if this one is... Hi!
Another fun-filled, exciting episode.
Yay! We're here on episode 14. Woohoo!
Wow.
Welcome back, Eric Ingram, the comedy action writer. How are you?
I am fantastic. So glad to be here with my two illustrious, distinguished writing people.
Yes, there's only a few of us today, but
Right.
we have mighty, a lot of information for everybody, right?
Right.
Welcome, so the horror queen, Nicole Jones-Dion.
I guess am I a scream queen? I don't know.
Yeah, I like it. Do
I
you
make other
scare
people
yourself?
scream, not me.
Right.
Do you scare yourself when you write?
I do sometimes, actually.
I do. You like
Especially since I write at night. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And you write at night too.
Oh, that'll do it. That'll do it. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Ann Kimbrough, and I write action and thrillers. And I want to scare myself when I write, so I'm writing a few horrors now too.
Nice.
Nice. Today's episode is about contest strategy. Because all of us have entered contests. Nicole, the most recently, who, hooray, we can celebrate again. She's a finalist in Page. Yay!
Thank you.
Yay!
But we wanted to get in and talk about, well, we could talk about the strategies of why you should enter, but also, sort of the after effects, what you should be ready for. But let's start with the strategies of why. Like, Nicole, why Page? Why?
Well, because I'm a genre writer, that's one of the things I would advise to other genre writers is don't just go and enter contests blindly. I mean, it really does help to come in with a clear strategy. And so one of the things I like about the Page competition is that they have genre categories. If you look at some of the big ones like Nichols, they're all lumped together, and so that means my little zombie script is going to be competing against some Nazi Holocaust script,
Right.
and competing against some romantic comedy, and those are completely different beasts, and they're really hard. It's hard to compare apples to oranges, and so that's why I tend to avoid competitions like Nichols, and I tell other genre writers you should probably, if it's not a script that would be Academy Award contender, save your money and find a contest that's either, there are a lot of genre-specific contests out there, enter those, or look for something like Page where they have genre categories. And there are a bunch of them that are out there that do that. And then your zombie script or your slasher script or whatever it is you're working on can stand on equal footing with other contenders in its same category.
That's good advice, Eric.
I'm not a big contest entry-er, I guess. Is that the word? Is that even the word? I don't know. But anyway, but when I did, at the beginning of this, I did enter contests, and I just piggyback off what Nicole said. It's very specific. I mean, you gotta understand that whoever's going to read your script, if you're a horror writer and you get a comedy person to read your script, it's kind of, it's just weird. It's just people would like what they like. That's just human nature. So it's not blaming anything. It's just kind of, it's who you get on that day and how they feel about your script that day. And that's what kind of like always used to throw me off. I'm like, this is so random. And then the ones who win, like, you never see them. Like, okay, if they were that good, they didn't get made. So it just threw me off. I was against them for a while, but I think you got to be very specific in what you do. Go ahead.
I was just saying, well, they could launch your career. It's kind of like they just get you noticed.
Yes.
So,
no, absolutely. It very well could. Absolutely.
There's a couple different values to competitions, and again, this all kind of goes to, do your research ahead of time. Because when I was first starting out, I was just entering contests blindly, and then I won one, and I think it was like, well, I came in second, and I think it was like a cash prize of like $2,000 or something, and I'm like, woohoo, this is nice. Look at me with my big fat check, and Hollywood's going to come calling, and crickets. Never heard from anybody. I had my nice check. But that wasn't what I needed at that stage in my career. I mean, yeah, a little extra money's good, but what I really needed was representation. I needed, a foot in the door. I needed people to know who I was. So then I started to get a little more discriminating, and I started looking for contests where the panel of judges were specifically agents and managers. So that way, even if you don't win, if let's say you've got a zombie script, and it's like, okay, those very rarely win the big competitions, but if you can get in front of those agents and managers, they'll understand, oh, this is for what it is, this is a really good zombie script, and that's the type of stuff I want to go out and try to sell. So be smart, do your research, do your homework, don't just enter a contest because it's got a big cash prize. I mean, look to see where you are in your career and realistically how those contests can get you to the next level. And if you don't have an agent or manager, find ones that have those as judges. If you're trying to get in front of a specific producer, a lot of the producers also read at the finalist level. So, just do your legwork, and the contest can pay dividends. They can really help.
Yeah, and for promotional aspects too. If you're gonna in the semis, the quarters, you need to be out there promoting yourself to people that you know would be interested, that you want to try to get to. If you want to get to a manager, if you want to get to a producer, that's a great lead for your email query. Hey, this script is a semi-finalist.
Yeah, it definitely gives you credibility. The flip side of that, the cautionary side of that, is if you're a quarter finalist in some little local regional contest that no one's ever heard of, it might not help you as much as you think.
No, it needs to be one of the big ones, right? And
it needs to be something reputable, and it's really hard to specify who which contests are the reputable ones. I mean, Nichols obviously is the big fish, right? The big kahuna. But if you're a genre writer like myself, Nichols isn't. They're not even going to look you. It's like I think I've made it to the top 10% or top 15% in Nichols, but I'll never advance beyond that just because of the subject matter that I write, and that's realistic. I understand that. Right. So try to find a reputable enough contest that works within your genre that can get you the next step. Because I know like Austin, I believe, has like a separate comedy category, right. And Austin's a really reputable competition with a separate genre category. So, just look around for things like that.
The benefit of something like Austin or even Sin Story, I believe, they're connected to a festival. So there's another thing. If you can place high enough, go to it, and that's a great opener to talk to people, network, meet people that are making movies, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I think I guess I'm kind of adding from a different angle, which is just as a writer, any competition that you enter and win is a confidence builder. I don't care if it is the local Kmart.
Yes, this is true.
But understand what it is, though. That's all I'm saying. Just understand what it is. It is, okay, someone says my work was good. Okay? So it's just like anything where you want to be the big fish in a little pond, or you're going to be a little fish in a big pond. LA, Hollywood, that's a big pond. So you got to come, what worked in the small town doesn't necessarily transfer to the big town. So that's what you have to understand. So once you start going after LA agents and managers, they're looking at the cream of the crop from all over the world. That's what they're looking at. And so, not to say don't do it. I think, but understand what you're doing. Like, I'm trying to win 2 contests. Okay, that's a confidence builder. That's fine. But just understand, don't expect CAA to call you because you won the Kmart.
And that's a really good point too, because I've seen people that placed highly in a competition or won a competition, and now they think they're A-list all of a sudden. And no, there's a huge difference between winning or placing in a contest and selling a movie or selling a script, having your movie made, being a produced writer. I mean, it's a step in the process, but it's just because you've got the little trophy or whatever doesn't mean that you're everyone's going to be beating a path to your door. You still have to put yourself out there. You still have to do the work. And
so the flip side of that is, if they do come calling, you need to be ready. They won't necessarily want to see that script.
Right.
So like always, you need multiple scripts. You just should have to pitch.
Yeah, multiple scripts in the same genre that are similar but different.
Right. Yeah. Very important. I think this is where a lot of people fall off. Because they get a little hype, they win something, right? Not understanding that the manager or the agent is looking for the long term. What kind of writer am I getting? How passionate are you for this? What would you do to do this? Would you give up a job? Would you work 2 jobs? Can you write a script in 10 days? Like this stuff that that people aren't really hip to because they said, well, I won, so therefore I must be ready. No, you're not. You know, think of the best baseball player, best sports athlete at your high school when you were in high school. Did they ever make it to the pros? Nope. Most of them didn't. Why? Because once you leave high school, now you go to a college. Now you got the best of the best going to this college. And then only the best of those go to the pros. And that's kind of, I mean, right? And that's kind of how it works.
True. It's true.
So that's why you got to really be ready to, like, even though you're winning something, and that's great. Like I said, it's a personal confidence builder. But understand, you got people out here who've been at it 10, 20 years, and you just started last summer, and you think you're supposed to be A-list. Like, no, that's not how.
Yeah, and it's, you know, kind of to Eric's point, it's like, I think one of the worst things that can happen for a writer, and this kind of happened to me, is your very first script wins an award, and then you're like, yay, you know, and it's like, no.
Right.
It's never that easy. It's never just, I mean, for some people, maybe you hear that mythical story about, you know, they hit the lottery.
But please.
For most people, I think it's really important to have at least 3 scripts under your belt before because contests are a form of marketing, right? They're a form of getting your name out there and in front of people. So it's always good to have at least 3 scripts before you start actively marketing yourself, in my opinion.
Right, I agree. Wholeheartedly agree with that. And also, I think, just to add a little tidbit, I think it's very important that you got to know in your heart if you're ready or not. And what I mean by that is so many people come out here before they're ready, and then they get discouraged because they, like, nothing's happening, and not understanding, like, this is a process, and every overnight story is not an overnight story. You know what I mean? The person who just, they sold their first script, right? That's the story. That's marketing. That's PR. Most of the time, it's they wrote 12 scripts that didn't work, or they came, let's say they were a cop or a lawyer or something, and they wrote this crazy, great story. Well, but they've been a lawyer for 20 years. So that's work too. Like, it all counts. So don't just, like I said, no just overnight success. And it's the first script out of college. Really? Okay.
Thanks to 20 years of your experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're an overnight success that's 10 years in the making. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that goes with my timing thing. Timing happens in the right time.
Right.
I would also say if you're going to enter a bunch of contests, I mean, there's a monetary element here, so that's another reason not to go crazy.
They do get expensive.
Yeah. So. And if you prepare early enough, you can save quite a bit of money going for the early bird entry fee, and you get read probably a little bit with a little bit more attention early on, right?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I guess from another strategy, I guess, also depending on where you are in your career, a lot of contests offer coverage. And they either include it as part of the price, or you can get, like, discounted coverage. And sometimes all you need is feedback from an unbiased third-party person, and you don't want to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a professional script consultant. Some of these contests offer coverage, and so that's a nice way to get that as well. And I guess as a little disclaimer or full disclosure or whatever, I'm also a reader for competitions, and so I see the caliber of stuff that comes in, and just make sure your script is really good. Don't waste your time, and don't waste the reader's time by sending in your first draft. You're not going to impress anybody.
Right.
We can tell. We really can.
They can tell.
And I don't know if maybe for another show we might need to do stuff on feedback and coverage. It might be another show.
We should, because we did producer notes. We haven't done feedback and coverage. We'll make a note of that.
I only say that because I kind of got soured on coverage and feedback. Only because if you guys remember the Creative Screenwriting Expo, remember that Screenwriting Expo?
Yeah,
which I think is coming back. I think it was coming back. I think I heard.
Well, whoever originally did it did end. But they're starting something up like it. Yeah.
Right, like it. But I remember it was Eric Bauer who ran it, but it was like Jim Cero and some other people have come and bringing it back. But anyway, you remember that they had that writing contest there, right? You know.
Yeah, they did.
There, right. So
I did that. You got to go in, and I did that too.
Yeah,
I never made it to the second round. It was like speed writing.
Yeah, an hour and a half to write a scene, right? So 2 years in a row. 1 year I came in 4th.
Wow.
And then the next year I came in 5th.
Wow.
Right? Okay.
That's impressive.
It is.
And I was like, okay, I don't understand what happened.
It got worse.
Personally, no. I'm saying it like, well, fourth to fifth out of 900 people, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Whatever it was, but it was because, and then I would see the scene that the three that won that got put up at the end, and the people chose who won. So I would see that, and I was like, there is no way. There is no way. I'm sorry. There is no way. And it got to the point of who read it.
Sure.
That's who scored it, right? And
that's always going to be the case, though.
But that was my point. That's what soured me, was like, that's why I kind of work. I think I work hard on the skills, because in my inside I know when the script is ready.
Yeah.
Like trust myself kind of thing, and we can get into that. But yeah,
well,
yeah.
Well, one of my things was I used to use scripts as a real deadline, but I didn't enter them.
Right.
I always felt, if you're going to go ahead, why don't you just pitch producers? That's, let the market tell you if you're ready. Why am I paying a contest?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because early on it wasn't, I don't know, there were very few contests that meant anything. There's a lot more now that do.
Yeah.
So,
right. There was like Chesterfield. Remember Chesterfield?
Well, that was like but the Chesterfield was more like you had to be a minority.
Like
fellowship.
Fellowship. Yeah. I
that was cool.
That's what I mean. I placed and stuff. It was just Disney.
Yeah.
I placed it.
Well, anyone that is interested in contests, moviebites.com is a great place to go.
That really is a great resource. If you want to do the research, all these things that I've suggested, start with Movie Bites and go from there.
Blackboard or Blacklist? Blacklist or Blackboard have a great calendar too. So Movie Bites and Blackboard they both have great calendars.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think we covered that pretty good. So, I mean, have a plan. Do it.
Yes.
It works. Nicole will have to tell us the follow-up after page.
We'll see how that plays out.
That's cool. Well, I have a new game for you guys.
All right, here we go.
This one is called Weekend Box Office.
Uh-oh.
And you get, since there's only a few of us, you guys get a couple go-rounds on this. So what I'm going to do, this is because we should know the market, especially the market we're writing in. So I'm going to ask you, Nicole, you're going to go first. For thriller and suspense, what was the top grossing movie last weekend for thriller and suspense?
I have no idea. I've been on deadline. I haven't been following what's going on.
You haven't. Eric, you any clue?
Ooh, what's the one with James Gandolfini? What is that one?
I'm not sure.
Is it The Drop?
No, No Good Deed. Have you seen that No Good Deed?
That was the top. That was Taraji and.
That was Taraji.
Yeah, that's what okay, yeah. Okay.
Nicole, here's an easy one then, Nicole. You have the top grossing adventure last weekend.
Does Guardians count?
Yes, Guardians was the top grossing. It was.
I think that's going to be the answer for the next month or so, right?
Yeah, really. Okay, Eric. Top grossing comedy last weekend.
Comedy, it's the what's that? Let's be cops.
Yeah, Let's Be Cops. All right. You know your market. I like that. Well, here's another one.
In the 80s. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. The top grossing action. This one, this movie's been around for a little bit.
Action. So hold on. There's No Good Deeds. There's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Scarlett Johansson's in it.
Oh, Captain America.
No. Yes, Lucy.
Really? That's still in the top 10? Okay.
It's
that's top 10.
For action. I don't think it's saying it was top grossing. Top grossing last weekend. This is by I went to the numbers. It's a great site to sort of see how different genres have done over the years.
Box Office Mojo is really good too.
Yes, I agree. Okay. I thought this was interesting. It said, what is the top grossing genre from 1995 to present day? Do you know which genre?
It was I know it's easy to go to the superhero one, but the superhero things didn't just started coming about.
It's one of your genres.
It's comedy.
Yes. Comedy. Comedy. I like that. I mean, I guess it's all relative, but I like that. This was my favorite little tidbit that I found. It said the top grossing source for movies from 1995 to present. guess what the top source was? Something that we do. Original screenplays.
Ah, okay.
I don't know.
The adaptation stuff really only really started taking off in the last, 5-10 years.
Yeah, right. So
I mean, there's always been adaptations, but not to the same level.
So I don't know if that's good for us now. Statistically, though, it sounds good.
No, I personally think this superhero thing. I know there's already remakes in the cycle. I know that, but eventually it's kind of like they keep talking about the end of Hollywood and all these different articles. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, because all you're putting out is one type of movie. There's so many other types of movies that we're not even put. I know right now we're about to be doing the Oscar season, so all the dramas and stuff about to come out. Okay, not gonna watch those. I'm sorry, guys. That's Netflix for that.
I think you have a point with the superheroes. I mean, I love that genre. But it's also going to be saturated on television this season. So what?
Yeah, all the DC shows are coming out. Well, I think Guardians of the Galaxy was a really interesting test because it showed if you could take one of those lower tier titles that aren't as well known, and whether audiences will still respond to it. And I think the lesson learned there is why yes, they will. Audiences will go see a story that's well told, that's well made and well told, regardless of the source material. Because I'd say 90% of the people who went to see that movie had never read the comic.
Right.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And had never even heard of it.
No. Well, I thought the previews looked terrible, but I had to go see it with my son, and it was a great movie. It was funny, I think
that's what won me over on it too. Was the trailers where it showed that this is a film that doesn't take itself so seriously, and then you're like, oh, they're going to have fun with it. It's not going to be, and as much as I like, Batman and the Dark Knight and all this, there's
she froze.
Nice bit of fresh air in comparison, a little levity.
Yeah. I think that's great.
She froze a little bit there, but I think everyone got that.
Yeah.
But I agree. They took the right path, so we'll see with the upcoming TV shows. And I don't know. I like them all. So I'm not saturated yet if I'm a sampling of the audience.
Yeah, fanboys and fangirls they're always going to go see those. They're not going to make money on those.
Well, I don't consider myself a fangirl, but
But are you going to go see the next 8 that are coming out? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will. I'm hooked. Gotta see them.
and a little bit of shameless self-promotion. The film that I helped out with called The Scribbler that just came out this week on video and video on demand is based on a graphic novel. So it's an adaptation.
I got to look for that on demand. I love that. Moving on, though, I think we did that. You did very well in that game. You survived another game. We're going to do a little Q&A here. This is a kind of an interesting question. It came up from someone online that I know on Facebook, and they wanted to know if you ever got some feedback after the fact that you got one of your writing assignments, and you got some feedback why they picked you over other writers. Eric, have you ever gotten? Do you remember?
No. Not. That never happened to me yet.
Well, you definitely got one of the recent options because you worked with someone before.
Right, but you said they told you. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Right. No, they never told you.
Right. They never said that. But I would assume. I can assume now. Remember, this is an assumption that try to be as professional as possible. B, I didn't have an ego. C, I was doing whatever it took to help get the movie made or get the deal made, or I took, and fourth is whatever suggestions they offered, I actually took them and actually tried to work them out and see if it really worked. If they didn't, then I would just say that, but not only would I say it didn't work, I would tell them why.
Okay.
That's kind of our art should be, this is why, it's not just, I don't like the idea, you can't say that. You gotta be like, it doesn't work because if I do this, the character wouldn't really do this because blah, 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 blah. So I got that. That's the assumption.
Okay, Nicole, do you have any hard facts?
Yeah, I mean, usually they don't tell you, but a couple of times I mean, you know, most of the jobs I've gotten have been from referral, you know, or people who are familiar with my work. But every now and then you'll just kind of come in blind, and I had one assignment that I got, and basically the producer had a title and a very high concept idea, and they were looking for someone to write a treatment on it, like a 1 or 2 page treatment. And they had narrowed it down to like me and like 2 other guys, and the other guys they changed the title, they went a completely different direction with it. They were completely out of sync with what the producer was looking for. And so rule number 1, listen to the producer, and don't try to make it about you, because it's their story and it's their movie. If you're writing a spec, write your spec, but if you're on assignment, you really have to listen to the producer and what they want. Yeah, and then a lot of the work I get is rewrite work, where I'm brought in to clean up an existing script, because either the other writer was either unable or unwilling to make the changes that it needed. And so with those, how do you get those?
Well, like for me, like the current one I'm on, there was a script that I had to read it first and give a pitch to them about what I would do. And they told me they selected me because my take on it was the way they wanted to go with it. Yeah. I just nailed what they wanted. Have you been reading the scripts first, Nicole? Do you have to read them first?
For the rewrites, yeah. For the rewrites, yeah, you always read it first.
Yeah, so that's what happened with mine.
Yeah.
Did you?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Nicole.
No, I'm just trying to think of like other little things. Like the assignment I'm working on now, they said that it was a word of mouth recommendation, but they said that I got the script, or I got the job because I write in a very cinematic way. And he specifically, and I thought this was an odd thing, but he specifically pointed out scene transitions, that the scenes that I did something with scene transitions that he really liked, because he's like, oh, you can see it as the movie, how the director would do this. So,
all right.
I don't know what that means, but
you had transitions is probably what it meant.
I had transitions. Well, and I had this. There was like a logical flow. Like this scene precedes this one in a logical way, and I don't know.
Right. I think that's a great skill. I don't know if we really ever really touch on that, like a specific assignment to like work on transitions, but that is a very good skill. That it connects the dot like a puzzle.
Yeah, and it's like one of those invisible things that you don't think about, but I guess so few people do it that when someone actually does it and does it well, they recognize it. I don't know.
One of my favorite people on transitions is Nancy Meyer. She did It's Complicated.
Sure.
And the Parent Trap.
Writer director.
Yeah. Her transitions, like seeing an apple in one scene and then the next scene someone is picking up the apple, like just stuff like that. Like, whoa.
Yeah, well, like I say, you write like in a cinematic way where you can see the movie on the page. Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that's a great advice. A great comment.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, what I was going to ask you, Ann, was okay. So when you read the script, right, and what did you do anything else to try to figure out what they might want? Did you do anything else?
No. I read the script and I thought it read like a stage play, and I knew it was a major rewrite. And I honestly, I could see why they picked it, but I didn't know why they picked it because it required a lot of work. And so I actually turned them down. I said, I can't do this right now. I've got another job, but this is what, I wanted to help them out. So I gave them a note. So I said, this is what I would think you should do to fix this script. Right. And they said, thank you very much, and went away. But then they came back to me like about 3 weeks later and said, what can we do to make you do this?
You played hard to get.
I played hard to get.
They're not used to people saying no.
Exactly. That's an advanced technique we will talk about later.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
And that's a good place to be at in your career when you can turn down work. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Well, yeah, I was lucky. I was just like, no. But I did at least give them an offer that I thought they could afford, and, it was a lower budget film. But I believed in them as a producer-director team. I love to work with talented people. And so I did make it, I didn't go back and price myself out of a job. I did try to meet them, and it worked out, so that's good.
Right. I think the only thing I can think of is a page one rewrite, and I think I got it because all I really did was repeat back all the suggestions that the producer was making.
That's a
That's all
great
I really
strategy
did.
too.
That's all I did. I was like, oh, so you would, how would you do that? And then all of a sudden he started getting into it. I was like, I'd like that. Matter of fact, and then I would add a little something to it, like to make it. It was just, yeah, that's another
I
thing.
agree. You gotta listen. They know what they want, and they
Yeah.
just mostly want someone that will do it. So
Right.
obviously, what I pitched were obvious changes that needed to be made. It makes you wonder who else they went to and what they said.
Right.
But
Right. Get
it
the
was
ego
good.
out the way, ladies and gentlemen. Get the ego out of the way.
It's not about us. Well, I've also gotten work because off of like a spec, a writing sample that I sent, it was the right tone, what I think Nicole was saying.
Mhm.
If you've written in the tone that they're like, oh yeah, okay, she can do that. So it's good to have a good spec just for that reason to send out.
Yes.
Good point. Very
You
good
may
point.
never sell it.
Sometimes. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I've got a spec that I've probably gotten 3 or 4 jobs off of. You know, then the script itself was never sold, but it like the little script that keeps on giving. You know.
Oh, love that.
Right. I was gonna say that you know a lot of times when they ask for something, they say, "Oh, it's in the vein of Memento and something like that." And then so if they tell you that, trust that they kind of know what they want.
Yeah, that's
You know
pretty
what I mean?
specific.
Like it sounds simple, right? It's like, well, duh, but people come up. Oh my God, they send them. How about a comedy that's? I asked for something in the vein of Memento, psychological thriller. Like it's just
Yeah.
don't assume you know more than what they.
Yeah, well, going along with that, no one told me this, but I definitely got a job because I didn't give up pitching ideas.
Right.
For some reason, they kept listening to my pitches because they were like phone pitches. You know, I'd call them up, go, oh, I got more.
Right.
And I did that for like a month and a half, and I don't even remember how many ideas I went through, but I got the job finally. Yeah.
Perseverance.
I'm still working on that.
Right.
Still
Yeah.
working on that.
We're still working on that.
Yeah,
We're not giving up.
Perseverance.
Never say never.
Perseverance. I mean, to this one today, I mean, one of the options I just got, the guy we had talked, I think maybe March, April, maybe something like that. And he told me he liked it, but he was working on something else, and so, but I kept calling, like every couple of weeks, I'll just check in, like, what's the status? And all summer long, nothing happened. And then Monday, I called him, and he was like, oh yeah, no, it fell through. I wanted to use yours, and I was like, boom. It was just perseverance. And if you don't hear no, then don't assume no.
Yes, that's
Never
great.
forgot.
That's great advice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes they
I
have a
kept
life.
pitching that guy. It sounded like no every time we got off the
Right.
phone, but it wasn't because he never said no.
He never
just
said
said
no. So a lot of times, I mean, people have a life. Like he had a family emergency, so he wasn't, but you don't know that. You just assume, oh, I guess he doesn't want it, and you just stop right there. Like, no. Keep going and keep writing other things, but eventually, like, I mean, just don't take. If no one says no, then it's not no. That's
Yeah. That's a cool one. Well, guys, you've done another episode with us. Yay! 14.
We survived.
Yes. Thank you so much. I know you guys are busy people, especially this week. So I really appreciate the time you give to all of us to come here and share these great opinions. I've learned a lot. I always learn a lot.
Always, yeah, me too. I love it.
So saying goodbye, I'd like you to give us a little catchphrase. We're going to get back. I love these catchphrases. You got a good one? We'll start with Nicole. Nicole's got a catchphrase.
I don't have a cool catchphrase. I'm just going to do more shameless self-promotion and say go see The Scribbler. Go find it. It's on video on demand. It's cool. Check it out. You'll like it. If you like weird stuff, you'll like it.
I like it. Eric?
All right, just off the top of the dome, here we go. Write, and never fright.
Well, that doesn't work for Nicole.
No, not like be afraid. I'm saying like don't be afraid to keep writing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't be afraid
Right.
like I can't do this. That's what I mean.
All right, sorry. All right, I'm glad we had that little asterisk.
Right.
And mine will be, may the screenplay be with you. Instead of the force. I like to pull my headphone out. Well, guys, another episode under the belt. Thank you, guys.
Yay.
Thanks, everybody
you,
out
guys.
there. Please subscribe
Absolutely.
and like us. Leave comments, and we look forward to seeing you on another Screenwriters Beat.
Absolutely. Good night.
Bye.